Makes me mad that I don't have it on Derek's account. God, the Cinco man.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Lionhearts. Welcome back to the Crucible Brothers. Today, we're going to be talking about the horrific state of fusion rifles in the Crucible, what the hell is going on, what you can do to counter it, and what Bungie should be looking to change about fusions to move us towards a more balanced state. Before we get into it, though, these analytics right here say that 85% of you aren't subscribed while you're watching these videos. That's okay. Sometimes you watch a bunch of videos thinking that you've subscribed, but maybe you forgot to hit that button. So make sure you hit that button, hit the like, hit the bell to get our notifications, and leave a comment down below. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. So, unless you've been living under a rock recently, fusions are obviously very strong in the current meta. They've been taking over trials, they've been dominating in quick play, they are absolutely everywhere. So what do fusions do right now that makes them as strong as they are? Well, they're very consistent, they have a very large range band, they are easy to use, and counter some of the most effective styles of play in the game. Specifically, fusions are kind of like the ultimate counter to the most standard playstyle in Destiny, and that's hand cannon, shotgun, sniper. Fusions comfortably dual hand cannons in the close to mid range, they stop shotgun pushes, and they can put enough pressure on sniper rifles with good positioning in a way that shotguns simply can't. You add on the extreme ease of use of certain fusion rifles like main ingredient, and suddenly you have a great recipe to counter what the majority of players are used to running in previous metas. And that makes fusions not only very strong, but very annoying, because they immediately stop what we think is the most intuitive way to play the game. I'm sure we've all had hundreds of engagements recently where you turn the corner with a hand cannon, you put your first 2 shots into someone, and by the time you're getting ready to do the third, you've just been eviscerated from 25 meters by a fusion rifle. They're faster than hand cannons, but they give you this illusion that you might be able to win the gunfight because they have the charge time. A shotgun or a sniper rifle just kills you outright. Fusions give you that little glimmer of hope, and then rip the rug out from under you and send you back to the spawn screen. That's why they can be so frustrating. And it's not like fusions just received an outright buff in the recent past. Really all that's changed with fusions over the last 6 months is that there was an archetype rework where Bungie went in and tried to make the different fusion archetypes all feel somewhat distinct. In the process, they kind of killed high impacts, but they made rapid fire fusions a lot better. And this got us re-looking at fusions in their place in the meta. Rapid fires were discovered to be really good and aggressive archetypes, while precisions and adaptives were discovered to be very consistent and good at the more close to mid-range sniping. And again, high impacts have pretty much been kicked out of the meta entirely, whereas previously and for most of Destiny's history, the high impact fusions were always the best archetype due to their superior range. No longer the case. And then everything changed when Xur attacked. When he first sold this demonic main ingredient, it was the beginning of the end and the rise of the VOOPs in the Crucible. I don't even need to tell you what perks this thing has. You know it by heart, I know it, the devil knows it. This thing is demon incarnate and has haunted the Crucible since Xur dropped it in every way. And as soon as Xur put a very, very good random rolled fusion in the majority of players' hands, the light switch was flipped and we slowly saw fusions climb in the meta. Week by week, you could look at trial stats and you could just see, main ingredient's starting to get a lot of kills disproportionate to other weapons. That's kind of weird. But maybe it's just an outlier, it's just an isolated thing. It probably isn't that big of a deal. And then it started getting more and more and more kills every week. You started seeing it in quick play, and then people took a step back and realized, oh no, there's a problem here. When you combine the power of these consistency perks like Under Pressure, Tap the Trigger, Firmly Planted, High Impact Reserves, suddenly these fusions didn't just become very good, they became nearly automatic. Little to no effort needed on your end to get max range snipes at very high efficacy, and thus the Dark Age began. Which brings us to the current day, where essentially Guardians have found their empty Infinity Gauntlets, they found the right stones, and now everyone is snapping each other out of existence in the Crucible. Witch Queen threw another wrench in the works, with several amazing fusion rifles being introduced into the game, as well as what might be the most broken fusion perk in the history of Destiny in successful warm-up. And now we reach a breaking point. This past week, at the time of recording, Bungie nerfs Firmly Planted, undeniably one of the best fusion perks in the entire game, by a whopping 50%, in a bid to try and reduce the efficacy of fusions without actually touching fusion archetypes as a whole. This essentially amounted to doing very little. Yes, Firmly Planted definitely feels worse than it did before, but it's still really good, and Under Pressure still exists, and Tap the Trigger is still really good despite its nerf, and really nothing changed, we've just moved some of the roles around. So what the hell do we do about fusion rifles? How do we make them balanced, still viable in the meta, but reduce their current efficacy, which is definitely way too high? Well, firstly, just like with all the other special ammo archetypes, I would like scavengers to be disabled. This reduces the amount of special ammo, this reduces the ability for people to run just their fusion rifles only, and it just cuts down on the spam, straight to the point. After that, rapid fires. Rapid fires to me are the most lethal archetype of fusion rifle. They are the easiest to be aggressive with, they are the easiest to use in the air, and they're also the most frustrating to fight because it's so much faster than any primary could ever be in terms of time to kill. Right now, most rapid fires can comfortably snipe at 20 meters, which is insane for how fast they fire, meaning the gap between them and stuff like the main ingredient is really not that big, considering the noticeable difference in charge time. So let's take the range down. I feel like rapid fire fusions should almost be like chaperones, but with charge times. They should probably have at max like 15 meters of range. Now I know what you're saying, doesn't that just make them strictly worse than chaperone? And I would say no, if for nothing else than the fact that chaperone requires a headshot, fusion rifles do not, they have a higher ease of use. This would make rapid fire fusions basically the poor man's chaperone, and better players would gravitate towards chaperone for its up end, while players who are still learning might prefer rapid fires for their ease of use. Secondly, I think it's fair to say at this point that what fusions need is to be less consistent. Right now it takes little to no effort to control recoil and to get very, very tight bolt patterns, especially with the help of perks. Fusions should by base have way more recoil than they currently do, be harder to control, and thus require more input from the player in terms of recoil control to get those really tight snipes. This would actually add a bit of a skill ceiling to fusion rifles, as the better players who can recoil control while holding their aim will get the benefit of more lengthy snipes. And frankly, I think that recoil intensity should go up based on the number of bolts in the fusion, basically per archetype. I think high impact fusions should basically receive the least of these nerfs because they're already the worst archetype, whereas precision should get a lot less stability, and rapid fires should get even less than precisions. Rapid fires should be kicking you in the teeth. They should require a lot of skill for that many bolts and for you to land all of them on a single target. And finally, please, can we nerf successful warm-up? Getting backup plan on a kill is ridiculous. I don't know how that made it past playtesting, but let's not, okay? Please? Ultimately, if all of that is not enough, then the final step is something that Cool Guy Games has recommended, which is we should go back to fusions not being hit scan anymore. The consensus in D1 was that fusion rifles being projectiles actually added a lot of cool variety to how they played, because you theoretically could hit much further out if you knew how to recoil control. It added a lot more skill variety to fusion rifle usage. It just came with the drawback of hit reg always being dodgy due to Destiny being Destiny. Personally, I would prefer them to remain hit scan, as I think they just feel better that way, but if they're still too strong, then maybe we have to consider it. I'm realizing now that I've been kind of just dominating this video. Let's go ask Gumi what he thinks about fusion rifles. Hey Gumi.
Yeah, bro, what's up?
What do you think about fusion rifles?
Fusion rifles?
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't really like shotguns, so maybe you like
Fusion
fusion rifles?
rifles?
Yeah, they're really good right now.
No. No.
What?
We're not doing this.
No,
We're
don't
not
shoot.
doing this. Come here.
Listen, I can't
Come
aim
here.
with a fusion rifle. Don't do this. Let's be
Come here.
chill. What are you?
Come here.
Ah! Oh, God. Okay. Well, I think we should leave Gooby alone. Actually, okay. Just we're not doing that anymore. I can't go back there. Anyways, that's the current state of fusion rifles in our eyes. Now we give it over to you guys. What do you think about fusion rifles in the comments down below? What would you change about fusion rifles to make them more balanced? Would you do stuff like maybe consider buffing up shotguns? I know that's controversial, but it is something to be considered. It could help with the overall state of the game. It could hurt it. You never know. But regardless, leave it down in the comments down below. We'll be down there responding as always. While you're down there, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Just like we told you in the beginning, 85% of you aren't subscribed. So even if 5% of you do that, that's a big help to us. Regardless, your views are enough for us. We are the Crucible Brothers. We will see you in the next video. Oh, wait. We forgot to mention Telesto. Well, that's because Telesto doesn't need to be balanced.